Hello and welcome to our first video of 2024, where we carry on the theme from the last video and look at our next set of award winners from 2023. To find out what they are, you will have to stay tuned because I'm about to reveal everything very shortly. So welcome and a happy new year to you, and thank you for tuning in to our first video of this year. And as I said in the introduction, this is all about our award winners from last year, and there's quite a few to go through, so please bear with me as I work our way through the next list of 7 award winners. And we start off with one which I believe was one of the groundbreaking products when it first came out. And it's from the New Zealand company Antipodes. Now, you may be familiar with the name or you may not, but it is all driven by Mark Jenkins and Mark Cole, who have, I would suggest, created one of the finest set of audio streamers and servers that you can currently buy. And the Eladra, which is their flagship design, wins our first award. Now, this actually highlights, I would say, why people do hear significant differences when you go from one streamer to another, i.e. streamers that do not have a built-in DAC, and it demonstrates the absolute importance of getting that part right, because ultimately, if you give your DAC the best signal possible, then you can be certain that the sound you get is maximizing all the latent potential that lies within that dual setup between the streamer and the DAC. Now I'm just going to quickly come to one of the many reviews that have been done on this device. It has picked up lots of awards. You'll see there's stereophile awards in there, but this one is specifically from HiFi News, where it picked up their Outstanding Product Award. And that's not something that Paul Miller and his team give out very easily. This has got to be something that is the pinnacle of its product class, and clearly they share their, I would say, the same enthusiasm and opinion that we do about the Eladra. So it was Andrew Everard who did the bulk of the review, and just a little bit of background, this can be Rune Core. You can also use it with other apps like Squeeze Lite, NAA and so on. However, what Andrew really identified was that this is all about having the best signal handling before the DAC itself, and that will then give you the best sound quality. Now, whilst there's lots more to this device than that, the one thing I can tell you with absolute certainty is that I have not heard any streaming device that does what the Eladra does. There's many forums that you can read about the Eladra from actual users and owners. I know it is by far our most successful selling product, which, when you consider it has an eye-watering price tag of nearly £30,000, that in itself speaks volumes, because for anyone to consider parting with the amount of money that you can buy the average family car for brand new, it does demonstrate this is doing something that other devices are not. From my own listening experience, I've never heard anything like it. It is by far the best streaming device. You can also have up to 8 terabytes of storage using the 3 drive bays, and that's enough for almost any substantial music collection. So an easy win for the Eladra. It's beautifully made. It's weighty. I think it weighs about 12 kilograms, something like that, if I remember rightly. It might even be more than that. If it's wrong, I'll bring the correction up on screen. And yes, one of our most loved components from one of our favourite companies. The best service as well from Antipodes. The other one thing which I must say that they deserve commendation for is the way that you can upgrade previous generation models for what I would suggest is definitely great value for money in terms of the actual upgrades when they bring out new generations of the devices. So kudos to them for making them upgradable, and also kudos to them for a continuous rollout program of improvements and upgrades. So first award goes to the Antipodes Eladra. Okay, welcome back, and the next category is the best loudspeaker, up to £6,000. Now, this has been one of the standout loudspeakers I have heard, again, for a very long time. There are many great loudspeakers in our portfolio, but we were, I'd say, privileged now to work as the UK distributor for this particular brand. And it is purely our desire to represent one of the best products in its class that motivated us to acquire this as a distribution brand. And in fact, as I mentioned in the last video, we will be exhibiting at the Bristol HiFi show at the end of February 2024, and this loudspeaker will be part of that setup along with some Electrocomp amplification. But primarily, this is, I would say, one of the best thought out, designed and best built loudspeakers I have seen in terms of its overall design, and even things like the 75mm soft dome mid-range driver makes the Revival Audio Atalante 5 something that should be on your short list for an audition if that is in your price category. I have had a pair of these at home now for probably coming on to 3 months, and I just honestly look forward to every time I sit down to do some serious listening, or even just to listen to some of my favourite music. I've always maintained it's one of the best ways that you can unwind after a hard day's work. And the Atalante 5 makes that whole experience so much more enjoyable, I can assure you. So again, another easy win for the Atalantes in this category, but also it's supported by other press reviews, and in fact Terry Ellis from Pursuit Perfect System has just given it one of his top awards, which was a standout product in his Best of 2023 awards. But there's many other reviews that you can read. All of them demonstrate this is a product with real substance and something that will deliver in most environments. It's an easy speaker to integrate. I've got mine, I would say, in quite a difficult situation in terms of positioning, but there is no bass overhang, no bass boom. They just sound beautifully balanced, very holographic, and a huge soundstage. So kudos to Revival for building such a great product, and congratulations on winning our award in this category. So we stay with loudspeakers and we move up in the price range, and this is the best loudspeaker, up to £10,000. Now, this is a company that some of you may be familiar with, but to give you some idea of who they are, this is a company called Paradigm Audio, who are a Canadian company. Now, what many of you may or may not realise is that Paradigm are the parent company of Martin Logan. And I know this was something I wasn't aware of until probably early last year, and it came as a bit of a surprise. Now, what that demonstrates is this company has a huge, I would say, resource in terms of technical ability, technical knowledge in all aspects of loudspeaker manufacturing. The thing I love about the Founder series is that the build quality is absolutely impeccable. The fit and finish, every aspect of this loudspeaker has come under a huge amount of scrutiny and development, and it's very obvious when you see the end product. The reason why I think this is such an outstanding loudspeaker is twofold. Firstly, it delivers a soundstage that is reserved, I would say, for the higher echelons of performance, so 30,000 and above. And this loudspeaker kind of defies its price point. Now, it's not inexpensive, it's just under £10,000. However, very cleverly, Paradigm have designed it as a semi-active loudspeaker. Now, the bass element, which goes down to 22 Hertz, which is well into subwoofer territory, has a 1 kilowatt amplifier driving it. Now, The thing I love about it is that the way it's connected up is done internally. You don't have to run another set of loudspeaker cables to get this part to work. Yes, you do need a mains cable. However, the tour de force of this speaker is the fact it has got built-in room correction. So you can get the bass tuned precisely for your room using Paradigm's own software, and that is one of the killer features of this particular pair of loudspeakers. Again, there's lots of reviews out there, but it's just an easy win. We've supplied this to many customers. I think it universally has had some of the best feedback we've received from our client base, and that is always the telling factor on anything that we supply, is how you, the customer, perceives it and how it then integrates into your own system. So another amazingly standout product that I have had the privilege to hear in my whole professional life in HiFi audio retail and distribution. So congratulations to Paradigm for building such a great speaker, and another easy win in this category. So we move back to the digital realm, and this time we're looking at DACs, and this category is the best DAC up to £20,000. This DAC has been a long-standing member of our showroom display demonstration product range. We've seen it going through its various incarnations, and Christian Anelli, who is the owner of Aqua Audio in Italy, has designed one of the best DACs that anybody can hear up to this price point, and that is the Formula XHD. Now again, I could talk about all the awards that this DAC has won, but again, HiFi News gave it their top award. And again, it was Andrew Everard who wrote the review for this, and he just said, magical experience, it is simply magnificent. And if there were 5 words that can be used to sum up an amazing device, that is the 5 words that you would want to have against anything that you were thinking about buying as a recommendation. It's just staggeringly good. It is so musically engaging. It takes away what I call the digital noise that perhaps the early DACs seem to demonstrate. It makes the whole aspect of tonality, I would say, the lack of syntheticness. And what I mean by that is I'm a violinist, and very often with music, when I'm listening to it, the violin can sound a bit synthetic. When you've heard what a violin should sound like, if you've sat in an orchestra pit and you're playing alongside other musicians, you have, I would say, the best experience-based knowledge that gives you the ability to make a sense of judgment regarding how authentic something sounds. And that is really where the Formula excels, the authenticity of it, and it does it so effortlessly. It sounds like it's hardly breaking into any kind of sweat, or it's just all so very easy for it. And it's an R2R design, so that I think is part of why this sounds so good. Yeah, there's lots of R2R designs out there. There's some I've heard that I just don't like. So it's not just about that, but it's the way that Christian Anelli has configured it, the attention to detail. If you remove the top cover and you look inside, it is so beautifully laid out. You can tell that this has been built from a perfectionist standpoint, that everything's important. You don't see what's inside, but if someone takes the care and attention to build it so beautifully in a part you never get to see, that also tells you the passion and the care and the part of this human soul that we put into things when we are creative. So a very easy win. I love this DAC. It is fantastic. I never get tired of hearing it. I sometimes think that, you know, sooner or later something must come along that's going to beat it, but it hasn't as yet. So congratulations to Aqua, a well built, beautifully sounding device that is an easy category winner. So well done and kudos to you, Christian, and your company Aqua. Okay, we're getting through these quite quickly, considering I'm a bit rusty, having had all this time off for the festive season. You try to get your head back into your normal work mode, and I know there'll be plenty of you watching this right now that have had the pain of going back to work this week. But do you know what? It's such a privilege to work in such an amazing industry, and I sometimes have to pinch myself about how great it is to work with such amazing products. And that's a great introduction to the next product category, which is the best integrated amplifier up to £6,000. Now, we started working with this brand a few years ago, and I would say I've been privileged to meet two incredible people that work for this company, Lasse and Volker, who are both intrinsically involved in this company, and that company is Electrocomp. Now, they're a Norwegian company, been around for many, many, many years. They are famous for designing an amplifier that B&W required for their Nautilus range, the original Nautilus range of loudspeakers. And the reason being is that when they first designed these loudspeakers, they've got an incredibly demanding impedance curve, and they were literally destroying amplifiers. This is why Electrocomp brought out the original Nemo monoblocks. Now obviously the Nautilus and Nemo connection is quite obvious, and even today, the original Nemo amplifiers are hugely sought after. They are incredibly well made. They are so robust and over-engineered. And that exactly is what this amplifier is. Now, there's a very interesting fact I discovered about this amplifier. It is completely stable to less than 2 ohms load. Now, most amplifiers at that point are causing your home smoke alarms to trigger as they effectively explode because they can't cope with delivering the power or current required or to maintain stability at that type of impedance. And what's interesting is what HiFi ran a review, and they measured the power output at 2 ohms to 300 watts on this, and it was completely stable. Absolutely staggering statistic. Now, as we know, it's not all about power and stability at low impedance, but these are important factors that highlight how well something is made. And it's not something you should ever overlook. It's part of what you should consider. It's not everything, but it does give you a great deal of confidence about how that amplifier will perform in any system. So there is no loudspeaker that this amplifier cannot drive and be stable. So that's a very important point. The other great aspect of this amplifier, which is the ECI 6 DX Mark II model, is that it's a streamer amp DAC, so it is going to do almost everything that you want from an amplifier. Its Runa endpoint has got AirPlay, Spotify Connect, Qobuz. It's also got Tidal Connect, and it's also got its own direct app. And the Electrocomp amp is worthy of comment. It's beautifully designed, easy to use, and that's the EC Play app. Again, this amplifier has won lots of awards. Like all Electrocomp, it has the very distinctive styling. When you see the pictures, you'll understand what it is, and you'll recognise it straight away, and they've maintained that styling year after year with evolutions of that over time. But the build quality is fantastic. They make some of the most reliable products that I have ever worked with. It is so rare. In fact, I cannot even think of any of the Electrocomp products we've supplied that have gone wrong. We've supplied lots. I can't say that about other manufacturers. Let's be honest, every manufacturer is not immune from product failure. But it's the level of failure that is very pertinent. And when you have got a 100% reliability record, that again tells you about what goes into these. And I know They never rush products to market. The R&D that goes into them is commendable in the extreme. So I love their whole ethos. They're a fantastic company to work with. One of the best that I've worked with ever. And as you'll know from the last video, we will be exhibiting Electrocomp at the Bristol HiFi show at the end of February. So we'd love to see you there. If you want to hear some of the products, which will be the new AW300 monoblocks, which have just been launched, this will be a UK first, and you can hear them at the Bristol show. Anyway, congratulations, Electrocomp. It's a worthy winner in this category, and I'm excited about the year we have ahead with some of the new products I know that we spoke about in our Zoom call at the end of last year. So congratulations, well done, and definitely well deserved. Okay, so we go back to digital again, and this time we are looking at digital transports, or network transports as some people might call them. And this award is for the best transport up to £6,000. Now, in my own system at home, I have got the streamer and DAC slightly cheaper version of this device, and that is the HiFi Rose RS150B. The award goes to the transport only RS130. It is fully featured. I could spend probably most of the remainder of this video talking about what it can do. Again, it produces sound that when you connect it to any DAC, you're maximizing the potential of that DAC's performance, because the input signal that comes from the RS130 is staggeringly good. I mean, they've thought about everything here. It's even got things like LAN fiber connections, so you can remove network noise by putting in an adapter between your network bridge and your device, i.e. in this case the RS130, and not every streamer or DAC streamer has the ability to take a fibre input. So it's a very easy thing to incorporate. It'll cost you about £60 or £70, and that is the optimal way to use this. It weighs about 12 kilograms, so it's a weighted piece. It's the engineering on it, the CNC work on it is the best. You know, it's just so well made, and this is where the Koreans are showing the way in terms of not only producing incredibly sounding devices, but also making them so you feel, even just from the aesthetics and the tactile nature of the device, this is something incredibly well made. Once again, it picked up a HiFi News Outstanding Product Award, deservedly so. It sounds great. I mean, we've supplied lots of these. If you look through forums for people that have them, you will not read anything even average about them. They are genuinely worth every penny. So again, congratulations to HiFi Rose for building something that looks great, is beautifully made, and sounds as good as it looks. A very well deserved and easy category winner for the RS130. Finally, in this week's video, we have the last category, which is the best integrated amplifier up to £10,000. Now, I'll tell you a very funny story about this brand. So I'm going to get straight in and tell you what the award is for. It's the Octave V70 Class A tube amplifier. I met with Thomas Brieger from Octave at the HiFi headquarters, because they were doing a review on the Octave V80 at the time. And Thomas was eager to demonstrate one of the, I would say, amazing safety features. And when I say safety, I mean as in it won't damage your amplifier if you do something stupid features on this amp. And so we were in HiFi News, sorry, What HiFi, oops daisy, we're in What HiFi headquarters. Thomas unboxed the amplifier in front of the reviewer, we got it all connected up, started playing it, sounded great, even stone cold it sounded great. And he said, right, I want to show you a very clever feature. So without saying anything else, Thomas got out of his seat, walked across to the loudspeakers, pulled out the connectors at the back of the loudspeaker, so obviously that channel dropped, still playing on the right, then took the two speaker connections and touched them together. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever done this, even accidentally. Chances are if you have, you would never do it again, and chances are if you have, you would then be facing a hefty repair bill for your amplifier, which of course would now be smoking away and sizzling on your HiFi rack. However, all that happened was, so obviously the sound went off completely, and Thomas then took the connectors, plugged them back into the back of the loudspeaker, powered the amp off, powered it back on again. It went through its normal soft start boot up routine and started playing music as if nothing had happened. Now, I don't recommend you try this at home, but it proves that Octave have an incredibly, I would say, astute view of making sure that even with tube amplifiers, there is a level of safety and peace of mind that you know that even if you do something stupid, and trust me when I tell you, as an audio dealer, stupid things happen sometimes, even with the best of intentions, not for them not to happen. So that's the first thing. To give you a bit of background about Octave, they were originally a transformer winding company in Germany in the 1950s. And that's a great place to start if you want to build a good amplifier. Having, I would say, expertise, knowledge of how to make good transformers gives you a fantastic start point for any amplifier, and this amplifier is no exception. I love the V70 Class A, it's one of my favourite tube amps. It produces 40 watts into 8 ohms. Now, if you know about Class A, you will know that's a very decent amount of power, and it's going to give you a lot of good dynamic headroom. However, the great thing with Octave is they've got a series of connected devices that are effectively boxes full of capacitors that you can connect to either a black box or a super black box that increases the dynamic headroom of all their valve amplification, meaning that even if you've got the most demanding of loudspeakers that need huge amounts of current and power, you can run anything from this with a black box or super black box. To be honest, 40 watts of pure Class A is plenty of power anyway, in my opinion. But the thing I love about this amplifier, the noise floor is almost zero. Octave are one of the few companies that have built a 300B amplifier that is completely silent. And it's almost impossible to achieve that with a 300B valve. Those of you who understand about tube amps will straight away recognize that is something significant. So this is the company that make these possible. Again, it's picked up lots of awards, HiFi News and so on. But I just love the way this produces sound. Nothing gets in the way of how this produces sound. If you are a musician and if you're a guitarist, and you've used an electric guitar, you'll know that, there's very few electric guitarists will not play unless it's a tube amp they're playing it into, because the tonality and the way it produces sound is something unique. And the same applies to HiFi. It's not all tube amps, again, are great. Like all these things, it's not just the fact that it's a tube amplifier that makes it sound good, but there is something hugely natural about the way this amplifier produces sound. It's just an absolute joy to listen to. If you audition one and it's in your budget range, all other things considered, I love the aesthetic of it. You can equip it with KT150 valves, which potentially don't offer any sonic benefit over the 120s it comes with, but they do look really nice, the KT150. I know that sounds a bit shallow, but the aesthetics of that actually do work extremely well. The engineering on them are phenomenal. Again, so robustly made, they just don't go wrong. And again, coming back to build quality and reliability, I know that's a big factor that puts a lot of people off buying tube amplifiers, because at some point these tubes are going to burn out. But what Octave have done to make sure that is reduced, they've got their soft startup. What that means is they gradually increase the current to the tubes. And the effect that has on the life expectancy of the tube is significant. So there's lots of reasons why, if you have hesitation about tube amplifiers for the aforementioned negatives, then Octave have gone a huge way to relieving that particular consternation and anxiety around that. So, but that all said, forgetting all the aspects of the fact you can't blow it up, you'll extend the life of your valves, it just sounds so great. It's just something you will listen to and not want to drag yourself away from. So once again, thank you so much, Octave, for making such a great amplifier. It's a privilege to work with you guys, and a privilege that we get to hear some of the amazing products that you have designed and produced. So very easy and such a pleasure to give this award to this amplifier. It is honestly amazing. So congratulations, Octave. Well done. The V70 Class A wins our Best Amplifier Under £10,000 award. So there we go, another week done and dusted. We've got one more week of awards to go, and that will be in a week's time. I look forward to sharing those worthy winners with you then. And as always, I have a very small favour to ask of you. If you haven't subscribed already and you're enjoying the content of our videos, please subscribe. It takes a few minutes, a few seconds, literally not minutes, literally you hit a button and that's it. If you're working with a very old pre-Pentium computer, maybe it might take a few minutes. You probably wouldn't be able to stream this if you did. But if you are enjoying the content, it would mean such a great deal to us here at Elite Audio if you just took a few seconds to subscribe to our channel. And our commitment to you is we will continue to take your feedback, delivering good content, and we will put as much into it as we possibly can so that we continue to provide you with something that you look forward to seeing every single week. Finally, just as I always say, please have a great week listening to music. If, like me, over the festive period you were listening to music a lot, which I was, it was fantastic. It's such, I'd say, an opportune time to really indulge in all the things we like, which is not just the food and the drink and all the family stuff and just the natural festivities and the good feel of that time of year, but also listening to incredible music from whatever taste and genre is your particular, I would say, fancy, or what floats your boat, all these things. So yes, please keep listening to music. Thank you again so much for watching the video this week. I hope you've enjoyed the content. I will look forward to seeing you again next week with the next batch of award winners. And until then, please take care, and thanks again for watching.